In 5 seconds, ucela uqala.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the presentation by the Moses Kotane Institute on the status of cannabis in KwaZulu-Natal. The presentation today will be done by Dr. Xolani Terence Ngema, who is a research practitioner at the Moses Kotane Institute. Dr. Xolani Ngema completed his PhD in chemistry as a Cotutel student, and he graduated with a joint degree which was awarded by the University of the Western Cape in South Africa and the University of Paris. Upon the completion of his PhD, he was offered a full postdoctoral fellow award by the African Renaissance Chair Initiative Program in Analytical Systems and Processes for Priority and Emerging Contaminants. So today we'll be getting this presentation by Dr. Ngema on the status of cannabis in KwaZulu-Natal. Over to you, Dr. Ngema.
Thank you, Dr. Tolo, for the wonderful introduction. And good afternoon to the attendees, good afternoon to the stakeholders, and also to the cannabis farmers, as well as all MKI staff. Today, the presentation, as Dr. Tolo has mentioned, is on the status of cannabis in KwaZulu-Natal. This presentation was planned as in terms of giving the direction, or also just the explanation on the guidelines for the HEMP application. But however, we'll deal with that as we progress with the presentation. So the purpose of the presentation is to provide an update on the status of cannabis industry in KZN, provide a brief update on cannabis-related activities in KwaZulu-Natal, and also explain the application process for hemp permits, which this process is with the National Department of Agriculture, and also explain the process for cannabis license application. And this process is with SAPRA. So in 2019, the province conducted a research on commercialization of cannabis, as well as the mapping for opportunities and cultivation of cannabis in the province through the Moses Kotane Institute. The research claims that there are over 50,000 products that could be made from the cannabis plant. And the key driver of the industry is the demand for cannabinoids such as CBD and THC, which, when blended in specific proportions, both have pain relief, healing, and wellness benefits. A formal cannabis industry is essentially in its infancy, which means it's at an early stage in terms of development, and KZN has the climate and an opportunity to be the major producer, manufacturer, exporter in the space of cannabis and hemp. So looking at the opportunities in KwaZulu-Natal in the space of cannabis and hemp, the decriminalization of cannabis industry is creating several opportunities for KZN agricultural entrepreneurs and operators in the value chain. And these opportunities are as follows, which is growing and processing of seed and seed-derived products from the local consumption and export to the US and other countries. Production of fiber for local fiber plant and for the textile industry. Production of CBD full spectrum cannabis oil, isolate and other CBD-derived health products and food ingredients, and also the production of tissue culture and seeds for local growers. There's also an opportunity for an establishment of independent laboratory testing facilities for the local growers, and also supply of technology or equipment, inputs, consulting services, packing CBD infused edibles and beverages, marketing and distribution. There is also an opportunity for the development of venture capital funding products and stock options in the financial sector. There's also an opportunity for legal advisory services, transaction advisory services, and joint ventures between the established foreign growers or processing companies and local companies. Excuse me. Even though there are opportunities in the KZN for the cannabis industry and also for the farmers that are interested in joining this industry, however, there are risks. And as with any startup venture or when entering a new product market, growers and processing firms are exposed to several hurdles that could hamper progress or may even cause complete closure of the enterprises. So the most significant of these challenges are the low yields caused by poor management, inferior seeds, pests, and diseases. Hence, there is a need for capacity development for farmers who are interested in the cannabis space. There's also challenges such as breaching of the legal limit of THC, compelling authorities to destroy entire harvests, theft of valuable CBD crops prior to harvest. The example that I can make regarding this, as we all know, with the sugarcane farming, when it's the season of harvesting, we'll notice or we'll see people who steal such plants and they will sell it in the street. So the farmers or the industry may face such challenges as well, whereby people will steal their valuable cannabis plants for their personal use. There's also challenges such as contamination of cannabinoids, either by pesticides, pathogens, and other contaminants, rendering them unusable or less valuable. The other challenge is post-harvest costs, including special storage facilities, processing, packaging, and distribution, and an impact on prices by the black market who are not constrained with compliance costs. So, in as much as there are opportunities for KZN cannabis industries, however, in the space of medical cannabis, industrial hemp, and also hemp for CBD, there should be an investment priorities so that this industry can assist and also include people that are interested and that people that have been part of it, but on the illegal aspects of it. So in terms of the medical cannabis with the investment priorities, there is significant interest from aspirant license holders with differing degrees of readiness in terms of product understanding and financial ability. Therefore, medical cannabis licensing demands upfront capital with a lag of 10 to 18 months before any revenue is generated. And banks, including 8-tier entities, have been reluctant to engage in supporting cannabis businesses, primarily because of the long lead times to cash flow. Therefore, there needs to be a review of policies to support the cannabis sector. A specialist cannabis loan fund in the region of 100 million rands should be considered to facilitate or assist up to 10 or more high potential cannabis businesses in the province. It is also worth noting that medical cannabis market pricing has eroded significantly over the year, and there is now a growing interest from international cannabis companies in cheaper cultivation sites with climate and other advantages. In terms of the industrial hemp, with regards to investment priorities, industrial hemp has the largest job creation potential of the cannabis sector, with a minimum of 1 direct job per hectare of cultivation and a job multiplier effect of up to 5 jobs per hectare. The sector can only be created and sustained through the direct support and investment. Industrial hemp processing capacity with an estimated 80 million rand loan or grant funding is required. Agricultural inputs for emerging and commercial farmers with a rough estimate of 50 million rands over 3 years to fully develop a required hemp cultivation capacity. So in terms of the hemp for CBD, hemp for CBD is currently being driven primarily by private sector, mainly because of profitability of the crop. To enable empowerment in this sector, attention needs to be paid to the following: prioritizing and fast-tracking Black-owned businesses for good manufacturing practice, oil extraction in the Dube and the Richards Bay industrial development zones, which are called IDZs. The capital-intensive nature of these facilities make them well suited for the development incentives provided by the IDZs, and in turn positions ATIA to ensure that significant share of the biomass supply for these facilities is drawn from emerging farmers at competitive pricing. This is a policy decision that can be driven quickly through a request for proposal process common to the IDZs. And also, there should be an investment that is prioritized in terms of the agro processing infrastructure, support for hemp, CBD flour, drying and export packaging. An estimated of 20 to 40 million rand per hub is required to support up to 1,000 hectares of high-value CBD flour for raw flour export. As we know, as with any business, the key to success is long-term sustainable offtake agreements and markets. Looking at the status of the seeds nationally and also locally, the cannabis seeds or seedling for medicinal purposes are regulated as part of the license provisions, and there is no control of hemp seeds beyond standard agriculture phytosanitary import requirements. The regulator is looking to control and limit the distribution of seeds for recreational purposes, and this is further complicated by the lack of commercial regulations in the draft bill. So the locally recognized hemp strains are currently held by the ARC, which is Agriculture Research Council, who have allowed pilots under non-propagation agreements. Mass propagation of the ARC strains is being delayed by ARC seeking to register plant breeders' rights, which has proven to be a prolonged process. So moving on to what was the core part of this presentation today, was to look at the status of hemp permit application. So far in KZN, through Moses Kotane, KZN has received about 240 hemp permits applications to date, and 32 of the applications were sent to SAPRA, and this was when the process of hemp permit application was with SAPRA. However, at the time when these applications were submitted, this process was shifted to the National Department of Agriculture. So therefore, the permits were not processed because this process is still on hold. 5 permits were issued under CDSA. However, renewals are required. So far, since the agriculture announced that they will be releasing the guidelines in this month, so far we have received applications from farmers and also interested applicants. But however, these applications have not been processed due to DALT not having released the guidelines. Of the profiles for these applicants, majority of the applicants are black population, and there are 15 females and 18 females. In terms of the population, the Indian population then is amongst the applicants that are interested in hemp permits, also with white and colors as equal applicants respectively. However, as we know that with cultivation of the cannabis plant, KZN districts are suitable for cultivation of the cannabis plants. In fact, all the districts are suitable for that. So in terms of identifying the applicants, we have managed to identify where they are from, and all the districts are represented. However, only Utsugela district is not represented in this batch of applicants. However, eThekwini and uMgungundlovu have the highest number of applicants followed by Ugu and King Cetshwayo and Ilembe. Zululand has also have 2 applicants, Umkhanyakude and Mzinyati, and Amajuba have 1 applicants respectively. With regards to the 200 farmers that have shown interest for hemp cultivation, the majority is from the Black population, but however these are applicants. Hence, we have indicated that these are the farmers that have shown interest. However, the whole process of applying the permit hasn't been done simply because we're waiting for DALT to release the guidelines. So therefore, we're still continuing accepting inquiries and people who are interested in cultivating hemp or applying for hemp permits so that we can have them in the database, so that when the process is up and running, we are able to fast track the application of the permits. From this, farmers that have shown interest, all the districts are represented. That means that should then the guidelines be released, hopefully within this month, we can be able to fast track the process so that all the districts in terms of cultivating hemp are represented, and all the farmers from different districts can participate in this initiative. However, there are challenges of which some of the farmers and the stakeholders are aware of it regarding permits application. As I indicated, that DALT announced that as of October 2021, they will be issuing and monitoring permits to cultivate. And indeed, the Department of Agriculture released the guidelines for the hemp permits in the first week of October. However, we have learned that the guidelines were released by mistake, and DALT is waiting for the Minister and the DG to approve the official release. And the guidelines are not released simply because there are no additional resources in the department to execute this process. This must still be put in place. Therefore, since the guidelines have not been released, then the delay in the official release of the guidelines suggests that the applicants cannot obtain the permits for hemp cultivation and can potentially miss the planting season. In terms of the medical cannabis license applicants, we also assist interested farmers, but MKI in this regard then provide assistance or support to applicants in terms of facility design for SAPRA, compliance and establishment of sites quality management systems. And these are the technical support that we have given to the 10 farmers that have asked for assistance from MKI. Some of these technical assistance is site design and capital partnership, full design of site and business plan, review of business plan for growth fund application, potential partnership with KZN license grower, business plan review and license application, facility review for good manufacturing practice extraction, conversion to medical license, design and costing, business plan review for fundraising. So in as much as we give technical assistance to the farmers or interested applicants, however, what MKI does not do, MKI does not fund the construction of the site. So therefore, the applicant bears the responsibility to source funds for the construction of the site and license application by preparing a bankable business plan according to the financial institution's requirements. Therefore, that's why we offer technical support, whereby now, if an interested applicant have prepared the business plan, then we can review that business plan for them, then advise them accordingly. But however, MKI does not fund the construction of the site. So in terms of the application process, as I've indicated, MKI provides technical support for medical cannabis license application and also assist interested farmers with the hemp permits application. With the medical cannabis, a medical cannabis license application is done through SAPRA, in terms of Section 22 of the Medicines and Related Substances Control Act 101 of 1965. The license is site-specific, and an adequate site needs to be prepared prior to lodging the license application. Therefore, before one can actually apply for the license, there must be a site and with a fully developed infrastructure that also meets the requirements that are stipulated by SAPRA. However, if then the site or the infrastructure does not meet the requirements, then that individual who's interested in the medical cannabis cultivation or processing, they won't be able to get the permit. So each site, when it's developed or constructed, it must meet the requirements of SAPRA, and the site must be prepared as described in the site master plan. This site master file is provided to the interested applicants so that they know exactly how to prepare and also build the infrastructure. So therefore, the site must have high security perimeter fencing, staff entry, gowning room, warehouse space, grow tunnels, which are greenhouses, processing areas for drying, trimming, packing with temperature and humidity control. Generally, the license time period, build time is a minimum of 3 months up to 6 months, but depending whether the resources to put up this infrastructure are available, then it can take more than that. The cost for constructing the site is estimated, or is an estimated of 4 million to 6 million, depending on the current state of the site and of course the size of the site. The cost of the sub-application fee is 23,980. As I've indicated that with this process, MKI only offer or provide technical support to applicants. Then the applicant will bear the responsibility to source funds for the construction of site and license application. In terms of HEMP, for the application process, HEMP permits were previously administered in terms of Section 22A with Medicine and Related Substances Control Act. One of the previous aspects of HEMP permit related to the requirement was to partner with the research institution. MKI is currently coordinating a project for the commercialization of hemp. Hence, we assist farmers who are interested in terms of hemp permit application. And previously, the requirement for permit were site security and a payment of 900, which was paid by MKI. This is all written or presented in the past tense because the guidelines have not been released. So therefore, we don't know what the new guidelines would entail. There could be things that will be changed since the process for permit application is currently on hold, pending to finalization of guidelines by the National Department of Agriculture, which will be prescribing a new set of requirements relating to site security and application fee. So with the hemp application process, with the process that we know according to the previous guidelines, and of which we hope that there won't be so much change in terms of the process, MKI, what we'll do, will respond to an inquiry from an interested stakeholder or farmer or applicant. Then the application form will be sent to the stakeholder. Stakeholder will return applications with the supporting documents. Then the application documents will be screened in terms of whether all the required information is incorporated and the supporting documents are attached. Then the applications are listed and site visit will be scheduled. Site visits are coordinated to verify the GPS coordinates, evaluate the state of site, and collect soil samples for fertilizer recommendation so that we can clearly indicate or see whether that specific site does qualify to cultivate hemp or not. However, this process may change as we are waiting for the new guidelines. Currently, KZN cannabis strategy is being developed, and it will consist of 8 pillars. So I'm just giving you an update on what we're currently doing in terms of the cannabis unit. These 8 pillars will be championed by different stakeholders. Out of these 8 pillars, the first one is the effective regulatory system, which will be championed by Moses Kotane Institute. The research and development will also be championed by MKI and KZN Department of Agriculture. Manufacturing and product development will be championed by the Dubai Trade Port. The sustainable seed supply systems will be championed by the KZN Department of Agriculture. Supplier support and development system will also be championed by the Department of Agriculture. Market and investment development will be championed by Trade and Investment. The development finance will be championed by Itala Bank, and the last pillar will be championed by MKI, which is communication and awareness. Of course, these are the proposed 8 pillars. As we're drafting the strategy, of course, stakeholders and other parties who are part of the cannabis industry will be invited to comment and also give their inputs in terms of the strategy, so that the strategy serves all the what is entailed for the cannabis industry. So just to conclude on today's presentation, of which today's presentation was all about updating, giving a brief update on the activities related to cannabis in KZN and also the status of cannabis industry, and also one of the aim of this presentation was to discuss and also explain the guidelines that would have been released by the Department of Agriculture, but however, that has not happened. So the permit application are currently on hold pending to authorization from the National Department of Agriculture. As I've mentioned, the delay in the official release of guidelines suggests that the applicants cannot obtain the permits for hemp cultivation and can potentially miss the planting season. And kindly note that hemp planting season for KZN district on the open field was proposed as follows, whereby in September, that's the planting season. So already we are in October. That means we are already late in terms of planting. October to January is the period whereby is the vegetative stage, and February to March is the reproductive phase. So therefore, if the guidelines are not released this month, or there are further delays, then that would mean the applicants of the farmers won't be able to plant this season. However, as much as there are such challenges, we encourage all farmers and interested individuals to continue to inquire about the permits applications while we're still waiting for the official release of the guidelines, so that we don't only send out a call to say people they can now apply or inquire about the permits application when the process is up and running, but in order to avoid other delay from our side as well, it's just to make sure that we do have all the details for people who are interested, so that we may plan accordingly and fast track the permits application when the guidelines have been released, and hopefully that will happen this month. I'd like to thank you for your attention and taking time to just come and be part of this presentation. For inquiries regarding cannabis or hemp in terms of license application or permits, you can contact MKI Cannabis Unit at kznkana@moseskotane.com, or you can call MKI reception on 067 428 8234. And also kindly note that the period to respond to the inquiries sent via email is 1 to 3 working days. Thank you once again for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ngema, for such an enlightening presentation. I think we are now well informed about the processes and where the status is with respect to the cannabis industry. There are a few questions here. One is, okay, it's not a question, it's a request that you share the presentation slides after the session. And the other one is about the contact details that you had given. There's a request that you please repeat the contact details for the inquiries regarding cannabis. And one last question is about cannabis. So this person is saying, I've been planting marijuana for a while. Should I continue with this practice or wait for the guidelines and the permit? Those are the questions we have for now, Dr. Ngema. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Sala, for the questions. Maybe just to answer the last question, whether should the farmer continue to plant or wait for the guidelines to be released. Of course, because the guidelines have not been released, hence if the person is continuing cultivating, that would be an illegal practice, because now we are guided by having permits, so the whole process is regulated. So I will advise the farmer or that stakeholder to not continue cultivating until the guidelines are of course released. In terms of the contact details for inquiries, it's in terms of the email address, it's KZN Kana, that would be KZNCANNA@moseskotane.com, or they can also call the reception of MKI, which is 067 428 8234. We'll share the presentation, and it will be posted on the MKI website. So whoever is interested in checking the presentation or just getting some information regarding the presentation as well can find that information on the website. Thank you, Dr. Twala.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much, colleagues, for your participation at this enlightening presentation made by Dr. Ngema. The contact details have been given. If you have any more questions or you require any form of support with respect to the cultivation of cannabis, the Moses Kotane Institute is there to ensure that we encourage job creation, and we also unblock any obstacles that may be there hindering the economic development of the province. So we want to ensure that people excel and do well in this space. So with those few words, I would like to bring the session to an end. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you.